Hello, Gemini. Welcome to September. I gotta tell you, your reading, I'm coming out all tongue-twisted, just like how I did with Virgo. I'm not quite sure why. Mercury retrograde's over. Saturn's starting to move direct. Might have a lot to do with the Mars. I don't know. I don't know what it is. But let's go ahead and get started. You have kind of a lot of moving pieces. And I feel an element of stress. But it's so insignificant that if you're true to really who you are, any form of decision or choice or whatever that you feel like you're kind of contending with can just dissolve so easily. You can just not experience that through your mind. Hanged Man came out in the center position, which is a big deal. The Hanged Man is heavy. It doesn't really have or get enough credit. People don't normally talk so much about this card, but the Hanged Man is really potent. And any sense of stagnation or delay or things not really going or moving, you can credit it to this. But it's so purposeful that stuff doesn't happen right now. Okay? It's important for you to have faith in the process, to have faith in where this is going, to have faith in how the universe so intelligently and meticulously arranges things for your benefit. Or detriment, depending on kind of which side of the positive-negative scale you lie on. But the Hanged Man comes out and says, just wait. Just wait. Now is not a time to push or to fight, because if you're pushing and you're fighting, you are fighting an uphill battle. Now, I'm not saying that certain things aren't worth it, and you don't, still stand up for yourself or whatever it is you got to do. But things are going to unfold in a seemingly perfect kind of way. You can't see it right now. This is one of those things when you look backwards on it and you're like, oh, I got it. Okay, gotcha. Okay, it couldn't have been any other way. That's what we always say. It couldn't have been any other way. It had to be that way. Well, that's the Little Prince, right? It couldn't have been any other way. The sun comes out as well. I kind of feel like this is your duality. These are your twins right now. The sun and the hermit. The day and the night. Life. And there's an element of death here as well. So what is it? There's both a beginning and an ending happening. The sun comes through as an absolute blessing and completely blocks out anything difficult. I don't know. Whenever the sun comes out, it's just like, okay, yeah, things are going well. It's good. No stress. No worry. You're being guided. You're going to be shown the way. Have faith in the process. This is something you can always rely upon. Apollo never lets us down, right? When was the last time a day happened and the sun didn't come out? I mean, seriously. It could happen, but, odds are it's going to be fine. The Four of Swords indicates see what I say, tongue twisted, right? Four of Swords is about the elevation of mind. This is an indication of actual ascension. When we talk about ascending from the third density to the fourth to the fifth, or even the sixth density for some of you, this is how it looks. Sitting on top of the power of mind. The man himself representing our true consciousness. And because you are a Mercury-ruled air sign and you're all about the mind, you, more so than anyone else, can accomplish that. You can observe thoughts and not necessarily act on them. You can think things and not give them any power. It's a really hard thing to do for me. Like, I remember when I was in Bali and I was having like a really hard time and I was going to yoga class and I was trying so hard. And I was going to yin yoga, which is really meditative, quiet. But I came in contact with what that actually means because I was the person that couldn't sit still. My thoughts were just spinning a mile a minute, and it was torture. But when I experienced that flip of like what it actually means to observe your thoughts, my world became so much more peaceful. It became quiet and simple. I was enabled or empowered to speak my truth, to not be afraid of living in true authenticity, which a lot of people are. That's what the Four of Swords gives us. Four of Swords is always a gift. It gives us separation and detachment from the things of the third density, meaning the emotions and the thoughts. It puts us into a state of beingness, a state of existence, and that is all. You may feel tempted to fall back. You may feel tempted to connect with something in your past. You may feel tempted to live in some kind of nostalgia, to miss someone, to want someone back, to want something back. But the more you can connect with the moment, which is what the Hanged Man is really trying to get you to do, connect with the moment. This dissolves. And any sadness or any regrets or longing or sorrow, it just becomes a part of your experience. It gives you education, it gives you wisdom, but it doesn't dictate or demand anything of you right now. You don't have to give your awareness to the things that have spilt. You can just walk right by, or you could just clean it up and just continue on. That may have been a misguidance. I'm not saying to be in denial. That's not what I'm saying. You can analyze and you can look at things and you can experience things. That's, of course, normal. You can do those things. But you don't have to have your life ruled by them. Two of Cups is always a welcome card, right? Two of Cups is often a soulmate card, a connection, a romantic interest. And this is the moment when Eros pricks himself with an arrow and falls in love with Psyche, a mortal. And this is the blossoming of a connection, the initiation of a connection. This could be internal as well, the merging of the duality, the working together of your twins, or it could be an external thing where you do find someone or you do connect with someone that you just really vibe with. Be careful of the things that you project and be conscious of the things the other person projects. I know some people get mad when I talk about personal stuff, but I don't care. Like, for me now, dating is one of the hardest things that I can do because I'm so aware of projections that, like, I could call people out on their stuff like, you would not believe. And I can pinpoint childhood pain problems and, you know, unresolved anger issue. I mean, it's so obvious the way people interact with you. It's so clear where they're coming from, and it's so clear what they expect of you, right? And I love that you have this Four of Swords here, because it enables you to really rise above that stuff, to control what you project. Rather, don't project anything, right? And to be aware of what other people are. So as you maybe perhaps meet someone, okay, as you perhaps establish something, the detachment is good. You can feel the excitement, you can feel happy, you can feel blessed, because you are. But detachment is key. To not become absorbed or completely engrossed in the connection itself. Struggle with Gemini. I'll say this: Gemini, Libra, and Pisces. These three signs are so comfortable with their kind of left and right, the light and dark, whatever. We all have it. Every single person has it. But you live so naturally in it. It's like second nature to you. That merging the two is actually a little bit more difficult. Because it's like, well, if I don't have that separation, then what do I have? You know? And so that is something that you will consciously probably need to work on. Now, I don't know if anyone actually has done that entirely, but at least to know which one's which and when you are operating as one or the other, you know? Page of Pentacles it's kind of interesting how this page has his chest so tightly guarded. And when a Two of Cups comes in, it's not necessarily advisable to be so guarded. You can be detached and not guarded. That is possible. One of the hardest things for people, all people, as they get older, is to be really, truly open. Somehow this air of mystery has sort of worked our way into our culture as something that is desirable. You know, never let someone truly get to know you, because then once they get to know you, then they lose interest. Like, you know, I don't know where this whole philosophy really came from. And actually, Osho talked about this a lot in his teachings. And love or hate the guy has some super on point philosophy, I will say that. He talks about how the most fulfilling relationships and the most or the deepest connections that we can have are the connections where we are entirely open, and where this idea of mystery, we just got to get rid of it, because, you know, this idea that we get bored, this idea that we, you know, just lose the excitement or whatever when someone becomes more accessible, is one of the things that is causing so much disruption in human relationships. But if we operate more openly from the beginning, more vulnerable, more authentic, then we avoid a whole bunch of other issues. So it's that fine balancing act between being completely open and authentic, but also being detached. How do we do that? It's a learning lesson. It's a learning experience that we must actively work on a consistent basis. And the Hermit, you know, again, the Virgo energy coming out for you. You know, we do have a lot of the Capricorn stuff. We have Jupiter and Scorpio, which is in your, you know, 6th house. And so the earth energies are online for you, especially the deep energies. 8th house, Scorpio, Virgo, Capricorn. I mean, these are not the easiest placements. Hermit is about introspection and analysis, but also self-criticism, constructive criticism. where honesty is so key. I'm getting a childlike quality coming out with this page. I mean, well, it's a page, right? So of course it's childlike. But you know how children just sort of say the truth? And sometimes it can be really offensive. You know, like they have no problem coming out and being like, you're fat, or you stink, or you have bad breath. Like there's just no filter. And sometimes we need to be like that to ourselves. Sometimes we need to really just say like, man, you are so messy. Clean up your house. What are you doing? You know, or you are so disorganized. You are so scattered. But not in a self-deprecating way, but with the intent to live a more purposeful life. Now, if you're happy with, you know, the dishes in the sink, then that's fine. Just leave them there. Like, I don't care what you do. No one cares. No one really cares what we do. You know, so just do what you want. But if it's something that bugs you, and if it's something that when you see it in someone else, it makes you angry, that's something you need to work on in yourself. And that's what the Hermit mode is all about. It's about harsh honesty. It's about coming in contact with our inner guru, our inner master, which we all have, listening to the lessons, and making improvements. Sorry, my camera's switching all sorts of colors. Sorry, I know that's annoying probably. But I want to hold up the cards so you guys can see. Now we have the Empress. First of all, we are in harvest season, so she's been making an appearance. She's been coming out and indicating it's time for us to take stock. Let's do an inventory. Let's see where we're at. And I've been talking about the Mars South Node situation for months now in my weekly readings that I do. This is a progress check time for us. We had Mars go across the South Node, then it went backwards against the South Node, and now it's starting to move forward again back across the South Node. So this is our time for us to really ask ourselves how we're doing. How is our harvest? What do our fields look like? And some of us are going to like get mad at ourselves for placing so much importance on things that aren't really important, like superficial social circles, spending 80 hours a week at the office, going to school for something that we didn't really need to go to school for. That's how I feel about my marketing degree. Right? Like, I really did not need that degree. That was such a waste of time and money. You know, whatever it is. And to just stop doing those things and to figure out how to just stop. And I use the word just, and I'm emphasizing the word just because it is somewhat kind of rude or assuming. But at the same time, sometimes it is really just that simple, right? That's the Nike slogan, just do it. Why can't we just do this? Why can't we just stop? That's all it is. It's just a mindset. And here we have the Two of Swords, which again for Gemini is a common thing, feeling torn between two things. But the more yogi you are, the more guru you are, the choices they just go away. It's so bizarre how that happens. And you seem to, and I can attest to this personally. Again, I don't know why I'm throwing all my personal stuff at you guys, but just as an example of someone who's trying to practice what she preaches as much as possible, the more aligned you are, the less often you find yourself in predicaments that you don't want to be in. Like doing something just to be nice, nope, not going to do it, you know, or doing something just to not hurt someone, or to, you know, if you're like, oh, well, what will people think of me? Like, no, that's not even a thing anymore. That just completely goes out the window. I feel like this Two of Swords is kind of like the last time. It will always show up. It'll always be a part of the tarot deck, but it's kind of like the last time for people that watch my channel to feel really, really torn between stuff, between which direction to go. Like, let's stop being so confused about which direction we need to go in our lives. Let's stop being so confused about what's really important. Look, you guys, I know what kind of audience I have. According to my weekly bumps, specifically, my weekly readings that I do, I get emails every week from people who are so advanced and so wise and just on a whole different level of, like, I didn't even know these people existed a year ago. But as I grow, I know what I'm attracting. So I know that you're here watching this Gemini reading because you're on my same vibe, right? Because and as I grow, my audience is going to get narrower and narrower and narrower. And I couldn't be more thrilled about that. Because we're all working together. We're all in each other's corner, in alignment. King of Pentacles reversed. This is a Capricorn, right? You got the Capricorn stuff, 8th house. Well, Ace of Pentacles. Yep. And, oh, we got 2 more. Finally getting some reversals here. The Tower reversed and the 4 of Wands reversed. See, you are going to have to break out of some kind of pattern. You're going to have to break out of some kind of thing that makes you feel comfortable, as we see with the 4 of Wands. Let me turn these upright so you can see them. And here we have Poseidon, right, with his, is that called the trident? With his staff, whatever it is, projecting and tearing down past belief structures. Hanged Man is also a Poseidon quality. It's very Piscean, very Christ consciousness, all about the higher intelligence of the universe. This has to happen in our lives if we ever expect to make any kind of progress at all. You may find yourself ejecting yourself from your social circles specifically because you just feel like you just don't have the energy for that kind of stuff anymore. You just don't. You don't have the desire to go out as much as you did. And if you are going out, I mean, that's fine. It's just, you may find it more draining. You may find it more difficult, more challenging to really be present in those situations because you're becoming more aware of other people's frequencies. You're becoming more aware of how their energy affects your energy. And you're becoming more aware of those projections that I talked about in the beginning. And so, you may be aligning yourself, aligning yourself with higher vibrational people, but in so doing, you are then rejecting lower vibe people at the same time. But when you have a 2 of Cups situation at a higher level, it can make way for a much deeper connection, something very real, something very raw and authentic with a greater potential or possibility for longevity, something that can actually really last. And coupled with an Ace of Pentacles, that makes me so thrilled for you. So incredibly thrilled. Please be open to whatever this is. No expectations, just go with the flow. Hanged Man. King of Pentacles reverse. I'll look at this in the comprehensive. We do have a lot to look at in the comprehensive. 5 of Cups, the Hermit, 2 of Swords, 2 of Cups, Page of Pentacles. We'll look at this stuff down here. So we'll see. I don't know. I don't think this is necessarily you. It could be someone else. This is a Capricorn energy. Could be a Virgo or Taurus as well. Someone who is also ungrounded, which could be added to your 4 of Wands reverse situation over here. So we'll kind of leave that. He's kind of floating over here. I'm not really seeing how he's tying into the story here. So we'll clarify. So I will leave you with that. Thank you so much, Gemini, for being here. I really, really appreciate all of you. And that's it. Thank you so much. Take care.